it just, the whole thing sent a chill down my spine because it's a real Rubicon being crossed. No matter who did it. It's a Rubicon being crossed where someone with a extremely prominent following and say in the political sphere, whether you agree with their opinions or not, was shot and killed for something in their beliefs.
Why would they cover up just a bunch of idiot devil worshippers? Like, what are you talking about? So
what if here's one, I don't even think I've thought of this, but you're making me think of this now. What if like they really fucked up here and they should have known it was coming and they found out they should have known it was coming and now they've just been trying to cover their tracks?
Could be a case. Honestly, nothing would surprise me when it gets to FBI. Like, who said it to me? I think it was Tucker who said, like, you know how, like, you think FBI is corrupt, right? It's 3 times worse than you think. Like, it's how it is. And it doesn't matter whether it's Kesh Patel, Dem Pangino, like, they are still in the system. They cannot clean up anything. Like, it doesn't work that way. And the major question here is, though, okay, so we know they killed him. Do you have any like suspicious that they didn't and it was just Tyler Robinson? Like, would you agree that it was a conspiracy?
The correct answer right now is technically I don't know. But again, the way they've said, oh, it was Tyler Robinson. He just shot the bulls at 30:06. Nothing else to see here. Again, doesn't add up for me. I also think we're never going to know the truth on this, unfortunately.
You know, I'm more optimistic about this. I think nobody can prove Kennedy's case anymore, even though I told you this when we started, I can give you all the names. Like, I'm pretty sure David could too, and many others, but the proof won't be there because these people Bush headed the CIA. You think he's going to leave anything behind not shredded that implicates him or his family? Of course not, even though he's implicated. So, here's what I think about Charlie. I think if people play their cards right on this one, this might be the one and original case scenario where people can solve this case. Like, I think that it's doable.
The fact that it was in the modern day and it's on video.
Right.
From at least 4 different angles.
Right.
And then, a couple angles that have an SD card that was handed over to the FBI. It's different. Yeah. It's different. And there could be. But it also, the greatest way to cover something up is to create a chaotic scene.
Exactly.
Because it's easy to hide in chaos. And I just, that was such a... We were on air when it happened. I was in here with the religion business guys. Crazy. And we literally stopped to go to the bathroom real quick.
Hey guys, if you haven't already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. It's a huge, huge help. Thank you.
Right when it happened, and Deef was like, oh my God. And then we got right back on air. And, it just, the whole thing sent a chill down my spine because it's a real Rubicon being crossed. No matter who did it. It's a Rubicon being crossed where someone with a extremely prominent following and say in the political sphere, whether you agree with their opinions or not, was shot and killed for something in their beliefs.
Right.
And the fact that there are some people that can't see what an awful precedent that is in the modern age, it blows my mind.
Right.
This is not something that should be shoved under the rug or forgotten. It should be investigated 6 ways to Sunday. It should be citizen investigated 6 ways to Sunday. We deserve to know the truth here. And we deserve to know the truth on everything.
Exactly.
But it is, this one was just, it was particularly spooky for me.
Yeah. And you know what I want to say about this real quick? So Charlie dies, right? And then these people never do. By these people, again, like CIA gets all the credit, but let's throw in NSA. Like, they are no less than CIA when it gets to, terrible shit. And people completely disregard Navy intelligence and their, paramilitary groups. So it could be any of them, really. Like, it could be any of them working with whoever. So the interesting thing is they never do anything just for one outcome, right? So when they do something with it, it's like, allowing 9/11, which I believe they allowed. There was a pre-knowledge of it. Like we're not going to go into it, but
yeah, that'd be another whole
yes,
podcast.
definitely not. So, but whether it's that Iraq war, whatever it is, right? It's never for just one goal. So it's like, we're going to get this, and this out of it. Okay. So what did they get with Charlie? It's very simple. Charlie was bringing people together, people who were completely divided, and like he was a unifier or whatever you want to call it, right? So all of a sudden, they killed a figure that is very dangerous in the future, maybe not now, but in just like, what was he, 20-something? Like, can you imagine?
32.
Yeah.
31.
Yeah, so like, can you imagine when Charlie's like in his 60s? Yeah. Like how much work he could have done?
Yeah.
He was uniting people together. That's one. So definitely needs to go, right? Because U.S. cannot be united. Then we think, we become stronger standing together.
A divided society is a compliant society.
Exactly. Like divide and conquer. Mm-hmm. So that's one. Second, of course, you win the whole Israel thing because he's about to divert, like you kill him and then you can manipulate the narrative. And people say, well, people still don't. Yeah, but they tried to manipulate the narrative, remember? Benjamin Netanyahu comes out right after this happens and starts talking about how Charlie loved Israel. What are you doing, dude? What are you doing?
Yeah.
So they tried to hijack the narrative to make it seem like Charlie died as a whole Israeli lover or something like that, right? In reality, and Israel, we should not talk about Israel as a country. Let's talk about Benjamin Netanyahu. It's a total different concept, okay? So absolutely. Benjamin Netanyahu seems plays it as they were friends and I invited, blah, blah, blah. Tried to hijack the narrative. Tell me what you think. Would he not be successful if not for Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, and in a way, Megyn Kelly? Take these three out of the occasion for a second. What would we know today? That what? Charlie was what? Charlie was best friends with Netanyahu.
Right.
And so the narrative that he wanted to plant would be implemented.
I think the most interesting quote or anecdote after Charlie's death that has gone largely ignored was actually what Dave Smith said.
Oh,
Did you
I don't
hear
know
this?
that. No.
Okay. So Dave Smith, I believe he went on like a stream with Sneeko. A few days after Charlie's assassination. And Dave Smith was invited by Charlie to speak at a Turning Point conference where he was debating this other guy, I think Josh Hammer's his name, who's a pro-Israel guy, on stage. And that was towards the end of July, I want to say. And so Dave, I believe, had never been in person meeting Charlie Kirk at that point. And so Dave is explaining this. He's like, I spent an hour with the guy. And we start talking and we're getting into it for like 15 minutes. And he said, the thing about your favorite political commentators, I hate to break it to you, is most of them don't fucking read books. He's like, I read books. It was very clear within 15 minutes, Charlie reads books. We were talking about all different types of, literature across the board. And now, and so it got to a point where I was like, oh, okay. All right, Charlie, you're a smart guy.
Right.
Like, you get it.
Right.
You know what's going on here over in Israel. Why are you so on it? And Charlie, the way he described it is Charlie went, no, listen, my faith is my number one thing to me. The Israeli government protects the Christian sites. If the Muslims took over the country and it was a radical group that did it, they would probably destroy them. And I care about those sites more than anything, which he said it just like that, according to Dave Smith. And then Dave was like, okay, well, can we do that without the genocide or whatever? He's like, and he, and he was like hemming and hawing on it. What was so clear to me though, is that it was a complete nonchalant admission that Charlie, in my opinion, for right or wrong, this is just like it's seemingly a fact, never gave a shit about like the things he expressed out loud about the Israeli government or whatever, or claimed to tie to the Bible or whatever. It was a transactional agreement for him for his faith where he prioritized it. And so it would make sense that someone of faith finally got to a point where he couldn't support a government's actions where women and children were being killed to such an extent that he finally would have had a breaking point on that. And I think that is absolutely something that should be looked at here. And to your point, you know, Benjamin Netanyahu's PR, whatever, after Charlie's death was some of the worst executed PR I've ever seen in my life. And it's like, you know, as someone who's really studied that guy's whole life, for years, until very recently, I'd say probably until the last 2 or 3 years, Benjamin Netanyahu as a politician was a William Jefferson Clinton level politician, a fucking political genius. He has completely lost his fastball. He has no concept of where he stands. He has less than zero self-awareness. He is making, it's like watching a fucking, you know, someone who's deaf conduct an orchestra. All due respect to deaf people. I don't mean to shout at you guys. I'm just saying, like, it's, and probably there's a great composer out there who was able to do that well. But, like, you know what I mean. It's like a disaster class at all times. And so you cannot look at those two things and not say, well, is there a question to ask there? Sure there is. Of course there is. He was clearly having a moral conundrum there. And what's funny is when I would have conversations with people over the last 2 years, really trying to talk about this issue and the insane, you know, arguments and nuances, whatever the fuck you want to call it, in the Middle East conflict, I would always cite the October 12th, I believe it was October 12th, 2023 interview with Charlie Kirk on PBD, where he came out and said that shit. I remember the day he said that, and I was like, that's the most pro-Israel young guy on the right side saying that. And remember when he like looked to the sky, he's like, I'm gonna be careful how I say this. They're gonna ethnically cleanse. And I was just like, I remember watching that like, and yet you don't think that same guy would be wrestling with the morality when there's 2 more years of, you know, a brutal war that's having some awful, awful downstream effects, killing people? Of course he would. Of course he would.
Can you imagine how brave, like, you have to be Charlie and say that? Like, when you're surrounded by the people that he was surrounded, which is like all pro-Israeli people, right? And all of a sudden he knows, well, he was no stupid guy, okay? He knew that after that, there would be a war. And he accepted that. Like, this is what I love about this shit. You asked me, like, why do you say they're going to call you Russian puppet? I don't care. Bring it on, bro. Bring it on.
Well, it is, man, it's getting interesting out here. And I just, you know, it's hard for people, especially when you have just access to go online and get mad all the time.
Right.
You know, it's hard to put some things aside, but, you know, we also gotta be, we gotta be careful with how we talk about things. There was a tweet I saw today from Elon Musk that, like, you know, is clearly just, he's typing quickly on his phone and not thinking about it. I don't want to sit here and like demonize him. Funny. But he's like, I believe the exact quote was, civil war in Britain is inevitable. And it's like, dude, you're the second richest guy in the world with one of the largest followings in the world, a top 5 name recognition. Yeah, there's problems in Britain right now. I'm not denying that.
Right.
That's not helping.
Yeah.
We got to be really careful with how we talk about these things, because the people who, by the way, is Elon going to be out there on the front lines fighting that fucking war? No.
Of course not.
No, he won't. He'll be sitting playing with the Starlink while people play with it and die down below. And I'm not ripping him for that, but like, you have to, we got to stop fanning the flames on everything. And I know that's hard, and I know it's unpopular sometimes. People get mad. I've lived in a country that's gone from fucking George Floyd to Charlie Kirk. I mean, you want to talk about a fucking whip-em-a-roll. And I've been doing this the whole time, you know, but like, we gotta, you know, chill look outside, touch grass, go to the fucking bodega, hold the door open for someone who looks like they might have different opinions from you. Things are going to be okay. Thank you guys for watching the episode. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and smash that like button on the video. They're both a huge, huge help. And if you would like to follow me on Instagram and X, those links are in my description below.